I would argue, and we get onto certain players, that half of them aren't good enough. We've had a few little bets today. You read my mind. Who am I talking about?
Mudryk.
Mate, you're joking. What game were you watching? What game was it?
Can we just say?
Mudryk was immense.
Can we just say? It's about time we had the conversation, right? Mudryk has been at Chelsea for a long time now. He started a lot of games, and now's the time where we should be seeing the level of footballing ability this lad has. Yeah. Can he run fast? Absolutely. Is he a good footballer with a good footballing brain? Fuck no.
You say Mike can run fast, mate, but he's shit in Soccer Aid every year. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Mudryk. Listen, let me just say, right, look, I will happily eat my words when and if Mudryk comes good. But today, true or false, Cole Palmer showed more in 20 minutes of being on the field than Mudryk did in the whole game.
Honestly, my brain hurts. Like, I feel like I'm going to literally explode. This is mental.
He's not biased.
When Mudryk beats a man, I feel like you're going to explode.
Tell me why. Because all I seen from this kid was consistently giving the ball away and not being a threat on goal enough. And the one time when he was through on goal for the penalty, his touch was so shit that the keeper was actually going to get a hold of it, and he was very lucky he was brought down because he wasn't getting near that ball.
So he won the penalty.
But he won the penalty, but that was luck because he was actually getting Milner was man with him. He overhit the ball so badly that keeper was going to collect.
I would go somewhere in the middle of that, right? I don't think he gave the ball away every single time he got it. I think that there was one point when he whipped a nice cross into the box that was nearly converted and he won the penalty. Do I think that he would have got onto that ball had he not been brought down? Absolutely no chance. There's no chance he's getting onto that ball. He miscontrols the touch just before it. But what I'm saying here is and listen, if it was for an injury, that's completely fair enough. But when you bring the likes of a Cole Palmer, okay, he didn't have a good game against Newcastle. Who did?
Exactly.
Who did? Our goal scorer Sterling didn't have a good game. No one had a good game against Newcastle. When you bring the likes of Cole Palmer out, and the way we're seeing it on the field, it's a direct swap for Mykhailo Mudryk. I just don't think, regardless of fee, regardless of potential, how he plays for the Ukraine, I don't think you can justify it.
Can we let Josh explain what is it you actually like about him and what does he bring to the team? Because I'm not saying him.
Defensively, you're going to go, what the fuck does he bring defensively? I don't know if you guys were watching Raheem Sterling today, but for me, this isn't a battle between Cole Palmer and Mudryk. It's a battle between Sterling and Mudryk. And I would much rather, every day of the week and twice on Sundays, play Mudryk over Sterling.
I need to pin you down a little bit, though, because regardless, the question was, what does Mudryk bring to the team? And you say defensive work. That's not what he was bought for. So I'm looking at, like, what are we actually getting from him? If a new club was to buy him and you were selling him, how are you selling him? Because I'm just not seeing it,
mate. He brings. So this is the first
Sterling take is crazy.
But this is the first thing I'm talking about because like, from an outsider's perspective, I can go, oh yeah, Sterling, he's getting goals, he's scoring amazing free kicks. You go, okay, he's done everything, he's on form, he's a really, really good player. But then you watch him for 90 minutes and you go, he's strolling around. When we have 10 men today, bear in mind I'm there in the stadium. I'm literally, do you know what? I've got fan cam in real life watching Raheem Sterling, and he jogs around. He doesn't give a fuck. It's Rashford Mark 2 for me. Like, I'm getting sick and tired of watching him week in, week out, and he doesn't give a fuck about Chelsea.
I'm going to have to repeat the question.
Not give a fuck.
Right,
I like that. Great
what
politics.
does he bring to the table?
Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Right. Sorry. Just
oh my God, I can't even explain it.
Just before you go. Okay. If the argument is that Raheem Sterling is not deserving of a place, why not Madueke then? Why is it Mudryk?
No. Just tell me what's good about Mudryk. It's a simple question.
You can't.
So
it's not really a yes or no answer, Brian.
He's absolutely fantastic at beating a player and getting a cross in. He can do that week in, week out. He's absolutely brilliant at that. Again, if he wasn't making that run today and he wasn't supporting Jackson, we wouldn't have got the penalty. So Sterling wouldn't do that. Madueke wouldn't do that. And there's no other player in the Chelsea squad that would have done the run that Mudryk did today to win the penalty. And then we don't win the penalty. And then it's 1-1. Sterling doesn't get on that ball. He doesn't have the pace to get on that ball.
No, but I mean the run, how he got the penalty against Spurs.
Brian, I'm going to help you out. To answer the question, he's in there for pace. That's what he based Josh is saying. That's one reason, but he's technically very good.
He hasn't offered enough.
Okay. There's another reason. Today he wins the ball in the first half. He wins the ball. He chops a player, cuts inside, does a shot from 40 yards. It was a whisker away from going in the goal. There's the only player in our team that will take a shot. Mate, honestly, I can't wait. I'm so excited for the moment where he absolutely proves you all wrong.
Can we just say, Josh, you've been saying that that same sentence for a little while now. I can't wait. We can't wait. I'm pretty sure
it's Christmas, right?
I'm pretty sure the Chelsea board, who are paying his wages, can't wait either because
he can't wait
because
he supports Chelsea.
I want to be on board with it. Like, I genuinely do want to be on board with it. I want to be able to look at Mykhailo Mudryk and go, mate, I tell you what, there's something special there. But I feel like in these cases, when you see these little glimmers every now and again of brilliance, I think that the thing that nullifies that is when you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and then you cast your mind back to other players that have potentially in time show glimpses of brilliance, and you remember the way their careers went and how it never came to fruition, and you go, you could just be another one of them.
Let me keep it this simple, just to put a full stop on my point and why I rate him. If he didn't make the forward run today, we wouldn't have got the penalty and we wouldn't have won the game because it would have been 1-1 and we probably would have lost. Right? It's that simple. And then also everything else that he does, he knits everything together. And also, when it came to shove, the subs that were made, he was on in the final man. He was as the number 9. It just proves that Pochettino rates him. Okay. Like, otherwise he would have taken him off.
I appreciate everything you've said, and he did make the run, which did result in the penalty. The reality is he probably shouldn't, in my opinion, he shouldn't have taken a bad touch, and he should have actually scored himself, and he actually got quite lucky that the challenge was put into him, and I think that the penalty was a harsh decision. My main concern, and I think that this should be the concern for Chelsea fans around Mudryk, is when you're looking at time scales of players who've been bought for big money, there's a finite amount of time before they usually come good, and there's a window where, like Anthony Gordon for Newcastle, like last season, bit hit and miss. This season, all right, you've had half a season at Newcastle, now you're kicking on. We're seeing regular goal involvements from him week in, week out. 9 in 12 matches, right? With Mudryk, it's so scarce and rare that he does things that I see and I go, there's something there. And I'm putting that down in my head to his footballing brain. I just think he's more of an athlete than a footballer mentally. And when that's the case, yeah, you can be effective, but will he ever live up to what we thought when the name and the brand and just
when they stole him from Arsenal?
Yeah, when he was stolen from Arsenal, that I thought, okay, that what a signing that could be. And the whole package of when he was delivered at the club, the promo package, it looked great.
The cameo against Liverpool when he first came in, you thought,
yeah, he had the look of a little superstar, but for me now, I'm not on board with what
social media baller. That's all he is.
I think he's a good athlete, but not a great footballer.
I will be happy to change my tune if it does come to fruition. I'm just saying I don't put him in that starting 11.
I tell you now, there are 40,000 people at Stamford Bridge today. Everyone in the ground rates Mudryk.
Osman, in January, you lot gonna go in and because he's not happy at the moment.
He's not.
Says he only got 2 shirts as a kid, a Chelsea one and a Man United one, which is random. But he's got those 2 shirts at home. Would you lot want your team to go in, or you think just wait for Nkunku to come in?
I don't think Nkunku's an all-out number 9, although that doesn't mean that I think we need to play with an all-out number 9. If you look at Mauricio Pochettino's history as a manager, even when you go back to like Southampton, he had Ricky Lambert, Graziano Pella, he was always liked a strong physical number 9. Maybe Bro will be the man, maybe Nkunku can play in that false 9, but if you said to me now, can we go and get Osman, and it's feasible and he wanted to come to us, then yeah, cool. So I'm not going to look at what I've seen over today and over some of the games this season and not think we're crying out for a number 9 that can put the ball in the back of the net. Ultimately, so's half the Premier League, more than that. So do I think it's feasible? Do I think we can actually go and get him? I don't think so. Napoli are still in the Champions League. They're still hoping to get Champions League spots in Serie A. I think it'd be really, really hard to get him out of there. And I think that if we go and spend all of our transfer budget or more on that one player, I was saying this earlier, I actually think we need about 3-4 signings, and that sounds mental, but I actually do think we need definitely 3. I think we need 3 signings, and how mad is that? Because how much have we spent?
1 billion.
A billion. I've heard it a billion times, but we spent 1 billion.
3-4 signings, Craig. 3-4 signings for Chelsea.
It's insane. Why would they need more signings? Why?
No, mate. Like, I agree. But I'm saying, I'm looking at the team and we do.
I agree with you.
We actually do. We need 3 25-year-olds coming in.
Silva should not be in that fucking team.
We need 3 25 pluses coming in. We need someone, I think, for the end of I think we can get behind this season, but for the back line, we need someone in the back line because Chalobah's going, Silva's going, and then we're left with 4 defenders, and we need more than that, right? In terms of centre-backs. I'm not sure at the minute, and it's mad because we've spent 100 million on 2 of them, I'm not sure if the midfield is a little bit lightweight at the minute. Look at Conor Gallagher getting sent off today. Caicedo really didn't have a good game today. Enzo got on the score sheet twice, and it was one of his better games in recent times, but he's still giving the ball away, and obviously we need a number 9. So when you say where, right through the core of the pitch, that's where we need 3 signings. I'd love them all to be 25 or older and come in. Do I think we'll get that? Do I think that's realistic? No, but that's what I'm looking at.
The two in the middle, the £100 million lads, I'm not like watching them going, you've really got a pair in there that look like they're made to play together. It doesn't look like it's working right now.
I do think, though, and I'm not writing off Pochettino being the man to do this, because sometimes some managers take a little bit longer to get this. Not every manager can be an Eddie Howe, an Unai Emery, someone like that comes in, transforms the club overnight. But I do think that a player is often what a manager makes them into and moulds them into, No one was singing from the rooftops about Joe Linton. Now look at him. No one was singing from the rooftops about so many of the players in that Newcastle team, in the Aston Villa team, that now we're looking at and we're going, God, they look like well beaters all of a sudden. So I do think that both Enzo and Caicedo have the possibility to get there, and I do think when you look at their age, but how long do we wait for the vision to arrive? You know what I mean? Because by the time it does get here, what sort of position are we in at that point? And I sound very doom and gloom off the back of it. We've won today. I want to be more happy about it. But I do think that I'm absolutely buzzing. We've won today. I think we're going to win against Man United on Wednesday night. I'm sorry to say it. I do think we are.
I think I might be doing a stream for that with Joy.
But I do look at today's performance and I'm like, more questions rather than answers.
Well, do you know what it said to me? You're 10th in the league on 19 points. About right. Like when I watched Chelsea play, it's because it was so expected that they would have a good season. At first you were like, it's a bit hit and miss, but you got to give them time. And the longer this goes on, you're like, hit and miss is exactly where you are, and hit and miss is 10th.
Do you think we see any real consistent runs this season? Let's say, for example, we saw Spurs go, how many games unbeaten? Was it 11? 10 games unbeaten. Obviously, we're seeing other teams get runs together where they're not being beaten. Newcastle are looking good at the moment. Do you think there's a point this season when Chelsea win... Let's not even go wild. Do you think there's a point this season when Chelsea win 3 league games in a row?
Well, you've won one already. I'm worried about the game against us. I'm not going to lie. If we play anything like we played against Newcastle, we're in for a battering. And then that's 2. And who got after
Sheffield United after that.
Oh, there it is.
That could be the 3 there.
No.
It could literally be there.
It could be. But for example, when we beat Spurs and other times this season when we've won games, Burnley, for example, when we've won certain games, Fulham, and then who is it we beat straight away after? I was always thinking, okay, now we're going to put a run together. And we just seem to not get there. And when I look at Mauricio Pochettino's first season at Spurs, I think it took him until the 23rd game of the season till he finally went on that run when he won 3 on the bounce. So
I thought that was great research you did. I watched your channel. Shout out to Joy's channel. We got a big up because he went into the first season with Poch and how that went, and it really did open my eyes to it. But then I thought, but Spurs' squad compared to Chelsea's squad, the expectations were completely different. For me, the reason the inconsistencies are there are looking at Silva in the back. He's just looking too old now for me. And then going forward with the inconsistencies of Sterling, Mudryk, and Jackson, I'm like, the only way you're going to start being consistent is if you buy a striker who guarantees you goals, who you can actually rely on. Because it is so... I haven't got a fucking clue what your team is going to perform like week to week now. God knows what the Chelsea fans...
Neither do I.